Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Taylor, your certified college funding specialist with College Funding Resources, with your college planning minute. Oh, my goodness. We have an exciting and special guest today. Her name is Linda Cabarjo, and hopefully I'm saying that right.
You are saying that right.
She,
Thank
thank,
you. It's
thank
hard
you
to
so
say.
much. And I guess I probably should say good morning, Linda. How you doing today?
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
It is so awesome to have you on the show. I'm so excited about the information that you're going to provide, not just information, but the insight that you're going to give to parents today as it pertains to test readiness and test mastery. Linda, why don't you take a minute or two and tell us about your background and how you got started in tutoring?
Okay, well, I taught the university in physiology
Hmm.
several years ago. I actually embarked on individualized instruction because that's the best way to help students. Everyone learns differently. So I pretty much decided to join a couple tutoring companies, Club Z and Tutor Doctor, and then I branched out on my own and started my own business at Freestyle Academics. And I've tutored students for over 20 years in ACT, SAT, and many other core subjects like with math, bio, chemistry, organic, inorganic, because I love helping students excel. And they all learn differently, so I try my very best to help my students get top scores in any standard test, whether it be GRE, GED, MCAT, like I said, ACT, SAT. I love it. I've seen tremendous results, so it's definitely worth the investment. It's definitely worth my time in helping the students and the parents, and it's a win-win for everyone because a lot of my students get scholarships, and so it's just I think it's the most fulfilling job I've ever had in my life. I love
Wow.
helping people. And with you too, what you do, we both help parents and families. So it's been extremely beneficial for everyone.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's beautiful.
You know what, Linda? One of the things that I appreciate is the fact that you're not only super good, but you have great passion. And that passion rolls over into your ability to communicate to the students and have the students respond to you in a way where they're actually learning complicated and advanced um, math, science, and even English for that matter. And I appreciate the fire, if you will, that you bring to the table. Tell us a little
Thanks.
more about your process. How does your process work? And then maybe we can get into a couple of questions.
Well, the process starts early. So a lot of students start eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade. And what I like to do is help students start early because junior year, they need to be completed. So they're not waiting until senior year when they're really like pressed for time. So it's really important that students start early, engaging in some ACT prep or well, a lot of students take the MEP. They have the Iowa testing. There's a lot of testing to start, but it's best to start early because I believe that it's a process. It's a journey. It takes 3 or 4 months to prepare for a really nice score, like above a 27. So it's really important they start a little proactive. And I think it's important for parents to really take it upon themselves to hire a tutor and get started because it's a really hard test because there's so much time management. This test is hard. You have like just very little time to take this exam, and students get really panicky and they're like a lot of anxiety. So I help them to make sure that they're very comfortable with the format, and it's a rigorous process with the testing, and because there's science, there's English, there's math, there's reading. So I really want to make sure the kids are ready for this test because it just makes me sad when they're not feeling comfortable and they're really nervous. And I want them to succeed. That's the greatest gift, is to make them believe and know they can do anything.
Hmm.
So at the end, they feel so confident, and they get scholarships and
Right,
financial aid, and it's beautiful. It's just
right, right.
that transformation is just amazing
Hmm.
before and after. So it's
You know,
great.
I teach a process, and you bring up a very good point here about the time that it takes for a student to develop and starting in the ninth grade. One
Mhm.
of the processes that I teach is how to position your student for a full ride. And that
Oh,
includes the readiness that the student must go through to have their academics in place so that they can position themselves for a full ride.
mm-hmm.
What kind of timeline do you typically see that a student needs to go through to improve your scores? I know you have some incredible testimonials.
Yes. Well, the question was about the timeline. So like ninth grade is the best time to really actually start taking all your prereqs, algebra, and then algebra 2, pre-calc, and so forth, because a lot of the math is really, really getting advanced on the ACT. They're integrating a lot of pre-calculus now, and it's becoming a lot harder. So I really recommend the students take a lot of hardcore math, and also reading as much as possible, starting when they're 8th or even 6th, 7th, 8th grades. Reading is so important. Students need to be really comfortable with the passages, whether it be narrative, prose, fiction, science, picking up just a book or science magazine and start to become very, very adept at understanding science and the reading. And English is basically a lot of like errors and grammar rules, and that can be done like in 4 hours of training. And at the 8th grade level, a lot of students pick up the English very easily. It's also connecting your thoughts and writing strong essays. It all comes with mastery of usage and mechanics, rhetorical skills. There's a lot to cover, but I think English by far is the easiest to master. If I was to just look at all subjects, there's 4 subjects again: the English, science, reading, math. English is the easiest to master, I believe. Then reading is a skill that takes time and practice, and then the science is a little challenging. You need to be exposed to different types of graphs and charts and diagrams, flow charts. So that is a process as well, and there's a lot of analytical reasoning, and there's a lot of tricks too with the science. And the math is, again, a lot of theory. So my suggestion is to start the math early, because it's getting harder. They're putting some trigonometric problems on pre-calc, and I mean, like, wow, they know that the students are getting like smarter every year. They're at they have to have this bell-shaped curve, and so now they're making it harder to show that there's difference, there's a spectrum. So yes, and so it's it's important to start when you're, I would say 9th grade. Earlier than that is even better. By the time they're junior, they're done, and they can apply early and do something what's called an early admission, and so they can get their scholarships and get done early. And also, I want to make sure that students know that some colleges accept what's called super score. They can superset the scores. They can take 3 or 4 exams, and some colleges take the top scores, the top sub scores from each exam. So it's called supersetting. So they can end up with a really nice score, because they take the top scores of each subsection, like the top English or to the top reading and the math, and then they end up with a really nice composite, which they just love. I think it's a great idea. I wish all colleges did that.
Do you typically recommend that parents take the ACT or the SAT? I know here in Michigan, despite we work with students in other states, but I know here in Michigan, they switch from the ACT to the SAT.
I know.
Talk about the differences between those, and tie that into the point you were making about taking the exam multiple times, because I think that's missed. That strategy is missed for a lot of students who anticipate just taking it one time. Talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so the ACT I believe it's a lot, well, I shouldn't say easier, but it's kind of like subjective. Some students that are really strong in the sciences, they opt for the ACT, which I think I'm kind of biased, but I think it's the better exam because it covers science and it covers your English, your math, and reading. But this SAT doesn't have any science in it. So if there's a student that doesn't want to go into the science field, they might opt for the SAT. There's a lot of English. There's a lot of math. Math is very hard. I think it's a little bit harder than the ACT actually, but now they're making ACT math just as hard as the SAT math. That's what I was doing some reading. And there's a lot of essay writing. You have to write an essay on the SAT. It's optional on the ACT. And the SAT essay is a rhetorical essay. You have to analyze it, and it's a lot different than the English essay. So there's a lot more English. If someone's more heavily into English and they're really strong in that, I would suggest the SAT a lot more than the ACT. So it's really preference, and out-of-state schools sometimes prefer the SAT. So a lot of them actually.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
They do, but the ACT is just acceptable still in Michigan, But they are kind of moving towards the SAT. So I would say it's really preference, and some students take a diagnostic to see which test would be preferable. So a lot of my students are taking that diagnostic. A lot of the times it's ACT based. I mean, they have a better chance at the ACT as opposed to the SAT. And I have students that take both because they want to have both, and it looks really good for colleges to say, wow, they got a 30 and 34 on ACT and say 1,400, 1,500 on SAT. I have one student right now who's taking both, and just almost like at the top scores. Yeah,
Okay.
it looks really good to have both. If you're really that kind of that someone that's really dedicated and fired up and you have that motivation, I would say take both, because you're just going to get better as a test taker. It looks really good, very marketable. You know, Ivy League schools like to see that too.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Linda, how can a parent get in touch with you?
Well, I have my website. It's www.freestyleacademics.com.
Mm-hmm.
So in my website, you can see like the testimonials, my philosophy of teaching, all the subjects I tutor. You can email me, or my email is actcoach@aol.com. If you just go, the website itself will just tell the whole story pretty much, and get to know me. And I really would like to help everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see success stories, and I want to see the students just feeling so confident, because college is hard. I went to college, I went to grad school, it was hard, and I want to make sure that they're so prepared and they believe in themselves.
Right.
That's what I love.
Listen, Linda, you've given us a lot to chew on, and thank you for your insight. And I look forward to doing this again with you. Provide your website one more time for those who may have missed it.
Okay, it's www.freestyle.com, freestyleacademics.com. Like it's like this, I think of it like freestyling through your academics, like you're just kind of coasting through it and you feel really confident. And school should be easy, it should be fun, it shouldn't be a difficult task, and it's not as hard as if you get started early and if you prepare. It's just like a skill. So that's why it's called Freestyle Academics.
Well, thanks. Well, we appreciate you here at College Funding Resources and the great job you've done for the families that we've sent to you, and we look forward to doing this again.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care now.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.